June 24, God says, your wealth will arrive in 10 minutes. Be ready. On this sacred day, June 24, heaven thunders with a message crafted specifically for you. Your wealth will arrive in 10 minutes. Be ready. This is not mere metaphor, not poetic suggestion, but a divine announcement sent to awaken your sleeping expectation and summon you into alignment with the miraculous. The Spirit is moving, and those who have eyes to see and hearts to believe are about to witness what others will call impossible. This is your moment, not tomorrow, not someday now. In 10 minutes your reality can shift, your lack can turn to overflow, and what you once prayed for in tears can arrive with unstoppable certainty. The only question is, are you ready? Because when God speaks, he doesn't speak to tease, he speaks to perform. This is the call to stand tall in your faith, activate your inner vision, and receive the wealth that has already been appointed to find you. You are not waiting for money, you are commanding it by your belief. Let your imagination become pregnant with possibility, for the angels have already been dispatched, and all of heaven is watching to see if you will rise to meet the moment. Wealth arrives when you believe it's already yours, the 10-minute revelation of faith. There comes a moment in every chosen one's life when heaven calls time into obedience, and what was once delayed, resisted, or hidden is suddenly summoned into view by the authority of belief. June 24 is not just a date, it is a spiritual marker, a divine countdown whispered from eternity into your hearing. Your wealth will arrive in 10 minutes, be ready. The natural mind may resist such boldness. It asks, how can this be? What can possibly change in 10 minutes? But the spiritual mind knows that time is no obstacle to the eternal. In the world of spirit, a second can be stretched into a destiny, and one act of true belief can summon treasures from the unseen. The moment you truly accept, that what you desire is already yours, you collapse time. What would have taken 10 years now takes 10 minutes. What was buried under generational lack is unearthed by a single shift in consciousness. You are not preparing to receive wealth. You are preparing to see what has already been given. That is the mystery, that is the glory, and that is why today's revelation carries power. Wealth does not begin in your hands, it begins in your awareness. If you believe wealth comes only after toil, grinding, and years of hustle, you will live in delay. But if you realize the outer world mirrors the inner world, then the only true work is the transformation of your inner state. What you see on the outside is the residue of past belief. Your current financial condition is not a verdict, it's a reflection. Shift the belief and the outer must shift to match it. There are laws higher than economics, strategies, and statistics. These are spiritual laws that govern reality, and the most powerful among them is the law of assumption. What you assume to be true within becomes true without. That is how wealth arrives in 10 minutes. Not by magic, but by divine law. You assume the state of the wealthy, completely, sincerely, vividly, and reality bows in response. When the inner vision becomes more real to you than the bank statement, when you feel the joy of wealth before your hand touches it, when your heart beats with peace rather than panic, then you are no longer hoping, you are possessing. And possession in the spirit always precedes possession in the natural. You were not created to chase money. Money was created to obey your consciousness. It is a servant, not a master. It flows to order, to peace, to clarity. If you see money as something distant, something elusive, something to beg for, then you've placed yourself beneath what was meant to be beneath you. God says you are heir to abundance, joint heir with divinity itself. The earth and all its wealth belongs to the one who believes, not the one who waits, not the one who pleads. The moment you see yourself not as a beggar outside the gates, but as a child of God already seated at the banquet of overflow, you activate the law. You become magnetic. People will say you got lucky. Doors will open without effort. Favor will fall like rain, but it wasn't luck, it was belief made flesh. It was your silent yes to God's declaration. Your wealth is coming, be ready, but be warned, readiness is not passive. Readiness is action, readiness is alignment. It is the posture of faith when God says in 10 minutes, you do not sit idle and wait, you prepare as if it is already here. You clear the clutter from your mind, from your accounts, from your heart. You forgive who you need to forgive. You bless who you once envied. You open your mouth and begin to declare, I am wealthy, I am whole, I am overflowing. Not because you are delusional, but because you are prophetic. You are speaking what heaven has already said. In 10 minutes, everything can shift. If you shift, the 10-minute countdown is not about the world catching up to you. It is about you catching up to your own identity. The money is not on its way, it's at the door, and it knocks not when the time is right, but when your spirit is right. God gives wealth not just to satisfy your needs, but to fulfill his purpose. You are not being blessed just to live in comfort, but to become a conduit. Someone's answered prayer is attached to your overflow. The promotion isn't just about status, it's about impact. The unexpected check isn't just provision, it's confirmation. When God says, be ready, he means get aligned with my purpose. Wealth in the hands of the aligned becomes ministry. It builds, it blesses, it breaks chains, but wealth in the hands of the unprepared becomes a curse. That is why God waits, not because he's stingy, but because he's wise. But today, June 24, is not a waiting day. It is a day of arrival. If you are reading these words, it means your season of delay has expired. The wealth is here. The question is, can you hold it in your spirit before it manifests in your hand? The 10-minute miracle is not just a metaphor, it is a window, a divine window in which time becomes obedient to belief. Use it well, speak what you want to see, feel the life you were born to live, praise before it appears, celebrate before the deposit hits, move through your home like one who knows increase has entered, write the plan for the business, sow the seed in faith. Smile with the confidence of a person who knows their steps are ordered. This is not fantasy. This is how the spirit realm works. Those who understand this truth, those who live from it, walk in continuous blessing, and they don't wait for evidence to feel good. They feel good, and then the evidence appears. You are being called today to live like wealth is your default, not your exception. Your inheritance is not just barely enough. It's exceedingly, abundantly above all you can ask or think. That is the standard of heaven. So come out of small thinking, come out of survival mode, come out of the old identity that said, I never have enough. Today, speak boldly. I am a receiver. I am a magnet. I am a portal through which divine abundance flows. Let those words not just touch your lips, but saturate your soul. Because when your belief becomes saturated, your environment has no choice but to respond. Faith is not hoping for change. Faith is change. Faith is the hand that grabs what grace has already provided. So rise up. You've been chosen not just to witness wealth, but to walk in it, carry it, and distribute it. 10 minutes from now, your situation can look nothing like your past. But the clock doesn't start ticking when you say maybe. It begins when you say yes. Say yes in your spirit. Say yes in your speech. Say yes in your posture. Let your entire being become a shout of agreement with God. Then watch what happens. Emails will come. Doors will open. Payments will clear. Clients will appear. Mentors will find you. Unexpected blessings will locate you. Why? Because you became a match for the very thing you once cried out for. And remember, this is not a one-time miracle, it's a pattern. Every time you choose belief over fear, assumption over doubt, and faith over facts, you collapse time again. The 10-minute rule is a symbol, a divine invitation into accelerated living. You do not have to wait years. You do not have to qualify according to man's standards. You only have to believe, and when you do, all things become possible. This is your word. This is your moment. And the wealth that is knocking at your door today is only the beginning. Be ready, not just for what's coming in 10 minutes, but for the life of overflow that begins the moment you dare to believe it's already yours. The wealth shift. What you feel in spirit will appear in form 10 minutes to abundance. There is a sacred truth that governs the life of the chosen one, and on June 24, this truth is stirring awake with thunderous certainty. What you feel in spirit must eventually appear in form. There is no power greater than the inner man awakened to his divine inheritance. For all the wealth, all the increase, all the favor you seek is not stored somewhere far away in the heavens or locked away in the systems of men. It is already within you, waiting for expression. Today, heaven declares that your wealth is scheduled for arrival in just 10 minutes. Not because of luck or coincidence, but because you are finally coming into alignment with the eternal law. Feeling is the secret, not your effort, not your effortful toil, not your worrying or planning, but your feeling. What you feel as true becomes true. If you feel rich in your soul, the outer world must respond. If you walk as if the abundance is already yours, if you breathe as if the money has already been deposited, if you speak as if the breakthrough has already arrived, you activate the greatest force known to man, the law of conscious creation. The shift from desire to possession is not a matter of time. It is a matter of vibration, and the difference between those who receive and those who delay is this: the ones who receive feel it before they see it. 10 minutes. That's all the time the Spirit says it will take for the shift to manifest. Not because God is bound by the clock, but because you are being given a window, a spiritual countdown that forces the rational mind to sit down and the inner knower to rise up. What would happen if, for the next 10 minutes, you dropped every doubt, every worry, every fear, and simply felt rich? What would shift if you allowed yourself to believe, not casually, not hopefully, but fully, that the money is already yours, that the opportunity is already yours, that the inheritance with your name on it has already been released? This is not imagination for imagination's sake. This is prophetic participation. This is you stepping into the role of co-creator, aligning with the source who never lies. You are not conjuring fantasy. You are unlocking what's already prepared. The house, the wealth, the influence, the legacy, it already exists in the invisible. The only thing that must change is your position. You must become the person who already has it, not the one waiting for it to happen. How do you do that? Through the feeling of the wish fulfilled. It is not enough to speak about wealth. You must feel the ease of it. You must embody the freedom it brings. You must wrap yourself in the sensation of security and expansion. Close your eyes and imagine the weight of the gold, the feel of the paper, the delight of paying in full, the joy of giving freely, the pleasure of walking into rooms where your name is already honored. Dwell in that state not for hours but for minutes, and everything begins to shift. Feeling is the language of spirit. It bypasses intellect, breaks the bondage of logic, and moves heaven to act. You may not know how it will happen, and you don't need to. The how is none of your business. The universe is not short of channels. It is short of people who dare to believe. If you get the inner realm right, the outer world must follow. Understand, wealth is not just currency, it is consciousness. You are either walking in the consciousness of I am provided for, or the lack mindset of I am still trying. God doesn't respond to trying. He responds to trust. He responds to inner certainty. And that certainty is cultivated in the secret place, the unseen room where you sit quietly and feel your reality into existence. That's why he says 10 minutes, because that's all it takes for someone who really believes. You can be in debt today and walk into freedom in 10 minutes if you saturate your soul with the truth of divine provision. You can go from overlooked to chosen, from struggling to successful, from blocked to blessed. Not by changing your job or your strategy first, but by changing your state. The moment you identify with wealth, it begins to pursue you, not because of who you are in the natural, but because of who you've decided to become in spirit. So many live their lives in waiting, waiting for the right time, the right opportunity, the right connection. But the right time is whenever you choose to feel worthy. The opportunity you want will find you the moment you stop chasing and start aligning. The wealth that seems distant is only waiting for your signal of readiness, and that signal is not your desperation, it's your embodiment. If you walk like you're already wealthy, speak like you're already prosperous, and give like you'll never lack, you shift into a frequency where miracles are normal, and it can happen fast, very fast, faster than the mind can comprehend. That's why today matters so much. You're not waiting for the stars to align. They already have. You are being told clearly. In 10 minutes, wealth will arrive. Be ready. So don't waste a second. Breathe deeply, center yourself, and move into the feeling of the answered prayer. Maybe you were taught that money only comes through endless hard work, that struggle is a badge of honor, that increase is for others but not for you. But that was conditioning, not truth. The truth is you are divine royalty, seated in heavenly places, possessing authority you have barely begun to explore. You are not here to beg. You are here to call things that are not as though they were. You were given imagination not to escape life, but to create it. You are not helpless. You are powerful beyond comprehension. And if you take 10 minutes today to live from that knowing, you will see results that baffle the natural mind. People will ask how you did it, and you'll know the secret. You simply felt the end from the beginning. You assumed it was done, and so it became. When you feel yourself rich, you begin to make different choices. You speak with different energy. You attract different people. You make decisions from a place of overflow, not fear. You stop settling. You stop compromising. You say no to what once enslaved you and yes to what elevates you. That's the transformation that feeling produces, and it doesn't take decades. It takes decision. If you would make that decision now, to drop every internal argument, every self-imposed limit, and just sit in the fullness of your imagined wealth, you'd see things move faster than ever before. 10 minutes, that's the holy container you're being given today. 10 minutes of pure, uninterrupted, unshakable identification with wealth. You don't even need to tell anyone, just you and God. Just you and the image. Just you and the silent agreement, yes, it is mine. Let this be the moment you stop hoping and start possessing. Let this be the day you stop asking if and start declaring when. Let this be the hour you stop looking at the outer and start governing from the inner. Wealth is not far, it is at the door. Your name is already on the blessing. Your account is already linked. Your path is already opened. The only thing needed is your internal permission. Say yes to it with your whole being. Say yes to it with your posture, your breathing, your tone, your imagination. Take the throne in your own consciousness and watch how quickly the world reconfigures around your decision. The next 10 minutes can change the rest of your life, not because of what happens outside you, but because of what awakens inside you. You are not a bystander in your story. You are the writer. You are not waiting for heaven's response. Heaven is waiting for your agreement. Today, you've been given access to a spiritual technology older than time itself, the power to feel the future into the present. Use it. Don't waste the window. Lock into the vibration of abundance and do not come down. Say it now. It is done. I am wealthy. I am chosen. I am aligned. I am ready. And let the universe echo back with confirmation. Watch the email, the call, the shift, the open door, and when it comes, do not be surprised. You knew it would happen. You felt it first. That's the real currency. That's the law. That's how wealth finds you. In 10 minutes or less, your spirit already knows the wealth was sent before you asked. Walk in it now. There is a mystery buried deep within the soul of every chosen one, a mystery that, when unlocked, changes everything you know about receiving from God. It is this: the wealth you seek was sent before you asked. The breakthrough you've been praying for, the resources you've been fasting for, the overflow you've been crying out for. It was released the moment you came into spiritual agreement, long before your words formed the request. And today, June 24, God says clearly, your wealth will arrive in 10 minutes. Be ready. Not because heaven just decided to bless you now, but because your spirit has finally caught up to what was already dispatched on your behalf. This is the revelation that changes lack into abundance, delay into divine timing, and frustration into fulfillment. What you desire is already here in seed form, waiting for your spirit to recognize it, claim it, and walk in it. Most people wait for evidence before they believe, but the chosen understand that it is belief itself that produces the evidence. God is not responding to your request in this moment. He's reminding you that the answer has been waiting for you to align, to believe, to receive. You are not trying to make wealth happen. You are waking up to what has always been yours. The divine currency is not held in the banks of man. It flows through the vaults of consciousness. And the moment your inner world accepts the reality of abundance, the outer world has no choice but to reflect it. The world mirrors your belief. It must. That is law. That is truth. You have been taught to ask, beg, and plead for what is already your inheritance, when in truth all you were ever required to do was accept it as real, feel it as done, and act accordingly. That is why the command to be ready in 10 minutes is so urgent. It is not about time. It is about readiness. If you knew the wealth was already sent, how would you behave now? If you knew the answer was already in the room, how would you move, speak, prepare, and praise? You would stop asking for confirmation and begin walking in the authority of a fulfilled promise. You must come to understand that the greatest delays in your life were never because God held anything back. It was because your inner man had not yet risen to match the frequency of the blessing. The gift was hovering, waiting for permission to land, and today that permission is being activated by your belief. In just 10 minutes, your world can realign itself with the original intention of heaven, which was never for you to scrape and struggle, but to walk in dominion, overflow, and spiritual certainty. The realm of spirit operates in completion. It sees the end from the beginning. It does not work in pieces, chances, or attempts. When God releases a blessing, it is already complete, already finished, already loaded with every provision necessary. But it requires a vessel ready to contain it, not a leaky container of doubt, but a full chalice of expectation and vision. That's what the next 10 minutes are for, not to make something happen, but to become the version of yourself who already has it. And how do you become that version? By remembering who you are. You are not a victim of this world. You are a spirit being clothed in flesh with dominion, authority, and divine backing. You are not waiting for wealth to find you. You are wealth itself manifesting in form. When you wake up to this, you stop chasing and start attracting. You stop trying to convince the world to give you something, and instead, you begin to radiate the vibration of a person who already owns the room. The kingdom of God is not coming with observation. It is within you. That means every resource, every opportunity, every divine connection you need is already packed inside your awareness, waiting for expression. Your spirit knew this before your mind caught up. That's why certain environments no longer satisfy you. That's why certain relationships fall away. That's why your soul is restless in shallow spaces, because your spirit remembers the wealth it was born for. Let this truth take root. God does not tease his children with promises. When he says your wealth will arrive in 10 minutes, it is not a gimmick, it is a summons, a wake-up call to rise into identity, to stop measuring your future by your past, to stop judging your bank balance instead of believing your spiritual account. Heaven's wealth was wired to you the moment you chose to align with your divine assignment. It is not delayed. It is merely disguised until you have eyes to see, and you do not receive it by wishing. You receive it by knowing, by taking a deep breath, closing your eyes, and stepping into the version of yourself who already possesses it. Not with desperation, but with certainty. Not with panic, but with peace. Feel that, in this very moment, let your body relax into the knowing, let your heart settle into the promise, let your mind release the question how, and embrace the answer now. Everything you need is already here. But are you seeing through eyes of lack or eyes of fullness that determines what shows up? This is the power of faith, not a faith that hopes something will happen, but a faith that knows it already has. The job is not to force manifestation. The job is to align with the version of yourself who has already received it. That's the sacred work. That's the invisible labor that produces visible results. So instead of watching the clock, watch your thoughts. Instead of waiting on an email, wait in gratitude. Instead of checking your phone for a message, check your inner posture and make sure it's one of confidence, praise, and surrender. For the wealth that is coming will not land in hands that are clenched with worry, but in palms open with trust. Today is not just a day, it is a portal, and this 10-minute moment is a divine crack in time where the impossible becomes possible, where the someday of your dreams becomes the right now of your experience. But you must rise to meet it. You must say within, this is mine. It's not coming. It's here. It's not being considered. It's been approved. It's not out of reach. It's within me. This is not pretending. This is not imagination for entertainment. This is spiritual ownership, and spiritual ownership always precedes material possession. You don't get what you beg for. You get what you embody, and embodiment requires boldness. It requires shedding the old identity of the struggler, the survivor, the second-class citizen, and stepping into the mantle of royalty. You are the lender, not the borrower. the head, not the tail, the provider, not the one hoping to be picked. Walk in that, move in that, speak from that place, and watch the physical world shift to match your decision. Yes, things can happen in 10 minutes that take others 10 years. Yes, you can go from unnoticed to unstoppable in less time than it takes to finish your morning coffee. Because wealth is not just about money, it's about alignment. When you align with your true self, money, resources, contracts, and favor race to find you. When you finally decide within yourself that you are worthy, that you are ready, that you are available for overflow, the gates swing wide. The universe rearranges itself to reflect your new self-image. This is not magic. This is divine law, and it does not fail, but it requires you to choose, and not just with your words, but with your spirit. So choose now. Let the next 10 minutes be sacred. No complaining, no doubting, no what-ifs, only presence, only faith, only gratitude. Put on a new identity like a garment. Wear the wealth now. Feel it in your bones. Speak it out loud, and then, when the 10 minutes are done, step into your life with the calm confidence of a person who has already won, because in truth you have. You are not waiting for your wealth to arrive. It has been waiting for you to awaken. And today, June 24, you finally have, so walk in it, live in it, give from it, and never look back. The wealth was sent before you asked, now receive it. Fully, boldly, joyfully, because it's yours. The divine countdown, 10 minutes to wealth, is a test of trust, not time. There are moments when God speaks in symbols so potent, so exact, they bypass the intellect and strike the spirit like lightning. And June 24 is one of those moments, when God says, your wealth will arrive in 10 minutes, be ready. He's not simply announcing an event, he's revealing a principle. He is not measuring time as humans measure time. He is weighing trust. The 10 minutes is not about the ticking of a clock, but the awakening of a consciousness. It is a divine countdown sent not to tease you with a deadline, but to expose the state of your inner atmosphere. Will you believe it before you see it? Will you walk in the energy of receipt before your hands touch the treasure? Or will you fold into fear, delay your belief, and disqualify yourself from the miracle that was already scheduled with your name on it? What you must understand is this: God uses time to test trust, and this countdown is your opportunity to prove that you believe Him more than you believe your past, your balance sheet, your history, or your doubts. In 10 minutes, everything can shift, not because of what happens outside you, but because of what activates within you. When God says, be ready, He is not referring to your wallet or your wardrobe. He's talking about your readiness to believe, your capacity to sustain unwavering expectation, because wealth doesn't arrive to the unprepared, and preparation is not about how much money you have. It's about how much trust you walk in. Trust is the bridge between heaven's release and your earthly receipt. You can have all the vision, all the prayer, all the desire in the world, but if you do not trust, the flow cannot be sustained. Trust is what anchors the blessing. It is what keeps the door open long enough for delivery. And in this moment, as the countdown to abundance ticks, the Spirit is searching for one thing. Will you trust even when nothing looks different yet? To trust in a 10-minute window means you've released the need to control. It means you are no longer enslaved to circumstances. It means you have stepped into the upper room of spiritual maturity, where what you feel within is more real than what you see outside. When God gives you a promise, He does not want you to monitor the clock. He wants you to monitor your mind. What are you thinking while you wait? Are you rehearsing doubt or declaring victory? Are you pacing with anxiety or sitting in peace? These 10 minutes are not a waiting room. They are a proving ground. In these moments, your trust is on trial. Can you hold the vision? Can you stay in the energy of wealth even when the world gives you no evidence? That is the kind of faith that moves mountains, opens gates, and draws resources out of unseen realms into tangible form. God does not tease His children. If He said, your wealth is arriving, then it is already moving through the channels of favor, opportunity, and divine alignment. But wealth does not manifest by force, it manifests by flow, and flow can only happen in an atmosphere of trust. Doubt dams the river. Fear builds walls, worry corrodes the pipe, but trust creates a highway between realms. Trust opens the floodgates. It invites the miracle in without resistance. This is why so many people pray and fast and still don't receive, because while their words say yes, their energy says maybe, but in the kingdom, only a full yes qualifies you. And these 10 minutes are God's invitation to say yes, not just with your mouth, but with your mood, your movement, your mentality. Can you embody a person who already has it, even while your eyes see nothing yet? Can you smile as though the breakthrough already came? Can you give thanks before the confirmation? That's trust, and that's the signal God responds to. You must understand the 10-minute wealth prophecy is not just about money. It's about your ability to remain aligned under pressure. It's about training your spirit to hold the vibration of victory even when your reality hasn't caught up yet. And when you master that, you become unstoppable, because now you're not reacting to life, you're commanding it. You're not being pushed by conditions, you're being pulled by purpose, you're not tossed by delay, you're anchored in destiny. Wealth becomes inevitable to the one who has trained their trust. Because when God sees that he can trust you to believe without evidence, he knows he can trust you to carry what others cannot. There are some blessings that are delayed not because you aren't worthy, but because you aren't yet steady. Trust stabilizes your spirit, and a stable spirit can hold the weight of overflow. So let us break this illusion. Time is not your enemy. Time is your training. These 10 minutes are not a punishment. They are preparation. God doesn't need 10 minutes to deliver the wealth. He needs 10 minutes to see if you're ready to carry it. Are you mature enough to believe when it's invisible? Are you bold enough to rejoice with no proof? Are you secure enough to celebrate while others laugh? These are the qualities that mark the true receiver. And when you pass that test of trust, heaven has no choice but to release what was already yours. This is the mystery. You're not waiting on God. He's waiting on your trust to match the promise. The moment it does, delivery happens instantly. The wealth was never late. It was only waiting for a spirit that would not flinch under silence. And this is the good news. You can shift right now. You don't need to earn trust. You need to return to it. Trust is your original language. You came into this world trusting the unseen. The world taught you to doubt. Religion taught you to perform. Fear taught you to brace for disappointment. But today, God is unteaching all of that. He is bringing you back to the garden of your soul, where all things were yes and amen, where abundance was not a question but a guarantee. Return to that place, speak from that place, move from that place. Let this 10-minute countdown be your resurrection. You're not just rising into wealth, you're rising into trust, and when trust is restored, everything else flows. Think of this moment as sacred. Do not waste it pacing or panicking. Use it to declare, use it to praise, use it to anchor your soul. You might not see the deposit yet, but feel the ease of knowing it's already en route. You may not have the check in hand, but feel the relief of debt canceled. You may not have the contract signed, but feel the joy of it complete. This is trust, believing the promise, not because of what you see, but because of who spoke it. And when you remember who spoke it, God Almighty, who cannot lie, who is faithful to fulfill, who finishes what he starts, you will not flinch, you will not fear. You will smile and stand tall, knowing that what is coming cannot be stopped. 10 minutes may feel short, but to God it is more than enough. In 10 minutes Joseph went from prisoner to prime minister. In 10 minutes the Red Sea parted. In 10 minutes the walls of Jericho fell. In 10 minutes water turned to wine. And in 10 minutes from now, your reality can shift permanently, not because of the minute, but because of the mindset. Trust activates miracles. Trust transforms moments into movements. And right now, your movement into wealth, ease, and divine supply is being ushered in, not through effort, but through surrender. So let the countdown continue. Let the world say it's impossible. Let the facts say it's too late. Let the evidence say it's not enough, but you say it is done. You say I believe, you say I'm ready, and watch what happens. The delivery will be undeniable, the shift will be immediate. The resources will arrive not by force, but by divine orchestration. Because you passed the real test, not the test of time, but the test of trust, and now you will walk in what has always been yours. Welcome to the moment, welcome to your wealth, welcome to the reward of unshakable trust. Let this 10-minute revelation become your lifestyle, and from this day forward, whenever God whispers, be ready, May your answer always be, I already am. God already released it. Stop looking for proof and start acting in power. Your wealth is one decision away. There comes a sacred point in every believer's life when heaven makes it undeniably clear. The wait is over, the delay is done, and the manifestation you've been crying out for is no longer in transit. It's here. June 24 marks that moment. God's voice comes like a trumpet blast, shaking the doubt from your soul and declaring, your wealth will arrive in 10 minutes. Be ready. Not it might, not if you qualify, not after you strive a little harder, but it will. The only thing that determines whether you experience the promise or forfeit it is this, your decision, not your history, not your income level, not your education, not who knows you or who left you, but your internal, spiritual decision to believe it's done and walk like it. Because the truth is simple and powerful. God already released it. The wealth has been spoken over you, assigned to your name, dispatched to your atmosphere, and the only reason you haven't yet touched it is because you're still waiting for proof when God is waiting for powerful agreement. The difference between those who receive and those who remain stuck is not favor, it's faith backed by action. This is not the hour to question whether you're worthy. It's not the hour to try to work your way into worthiness. You were made worthy the moment God placed breath in your lungs and destiny in your bones. This is not about earning wealth, it's about accepting it, claiming it, walking in it, and aligning every part of your being with the frequency of increase. You've spent enough years wondering, doubting, hoping someday it might turn around, but the heavens are not asking you to hope anymore. They're commanding you to know, not guess, not plead, know. That's what separates manifestation from illusion. You don't manifest what you hope for. You manifest what you know is already yours. And when God says 10 minutes, he's not measuring time as man does. He's issuing a call for instant inner agreement. That's all it takes. Not 10 years, not 10 prayers. 10 minutes of complete, undiluted, radical alignment with divine truth. It is already mine. You see, the supernatural operates through the mechanism of belief, not passive, half-hearted belief, but belief that governs how you move, speak, think, and feel. Belief that transforms your posture, belief that shuts the door on lack and opens the gates to overflow. You do not need more signs. You need to become the sign. You are the evidence. You are the chosen carrier. You are the walking, breathing confirmation that heaven is not bankrupt and the kingdom is not limited. You've been praying for a sign that it's time. Let this be your confirmation. You don't need to see it to believe. It's time to believe so deeply that you'll see it. The old system of waiting on proof is broken. God has given you something far greater than proof. He's given you authority. The minute you shift your identity from one who is waiting to one who already is, the world bends in your direction, the money shows up. The favor locates you, the deal is signed, the breakthrough finds your door, not because you're lucky, but because you finally stopped chasing and became what you were chasing. This wealth isn't random. It's not a bonus, it's your inheritance. You don't have to fight for what already belongs to you. You just have to stop rejecting it by your inner conversations, your unworthy self-talk, your scarcity-driven habits. Every time you say, I don't have enough, you turn the faucet of favor off. Every time you say, maybe later, you push the blessing further. But today is the day to turn that faucet on and leave it flowing. God's not giving to you on a trial basis. He's blessing you for the long haul. But can you handle it? Can you carry the wealth with maturity, with vision, with gratitude and obedience? Or will you shrink back into patterns that protected your past but now sabotage your future? The next 10 minutes are not about watching the clock. They are about watching your choices. You're one decision away from stepping into the wealth that's been circling your life for years, waiting for an open gate. The decision to act like you already have it. The decision to speak like overflow is your language. The decision to move like you have a bank account heaven cannot empty. God's timing is perfect, but God's manifestation is activated by your decision. You're not waiting for heaven to release. It already did. You're waiting for yourself to agree, and agreement is not silent. Agreement is not passive. Agreement is bold. It moves forward. It sets things in motion. If you knew $10 million was hitting your account in 10 minutes, how would you act? What would you start? What would you cancel? What would you stop tolerating? What would you sow? What would you say? That version of you, the one who lives in the full reality of divine wealth, is the version you must step into now before anything external changes. That's how you pull the unseen into the seen. You are not waiting for signs. You are the signal. You are not hoping for doors. You are the key. The wealth is attracted to the decision maker, not the question asker. Stop asking if it's real. Start walking as if it's done. Wealth is not just about money. It's about divine ownership. It's about the inner confidence that says, heaven trusts me. It's about knowing that lack is not your portion, delay is not your story, and struggle is not your legacy. It's about shifting your atmosphere with the way you carry yourself, talk to yourself, and show up in rooms. Money is just one form of wealth. The real wealth is identity, and once your identity aligns with overflow, money must follow. Resources must follow. Opportunities must obey, because the outer world cannot argue with a soul that's in agreement with God. And today, that agreement is what heaven is after. God already moved. God already spoke. God already released. Now he's watching to see if you'll stand still in fear or rise in faith and act like it's yours. Forget what the past said. Forget what your current circumstances are whispering. Forget what others told you wasn't possible. All of that was built on a lie. The lie that you had to wait your turn. But favor isn't a line. Favor is a position. And today, you've been positioned for manifestation. The clock doesn't determine your miracle. Your decision does. Make it now. Make it boldly. Start that business. Apply for that grant. Sow that seed. Pick up the phone. Open that account. Start speaking what you want instead of what you fear. God says your wealth will arrive in 10 minutes, and you don't need to earn that word. You need to enforce it. You need to act like heaven meant what it said. The door is already open. You just have to walk through it. So, rise up now. This is your moment. You've been praying for a shift. This is it. You've been waiting for the release. It's done. You've been hoping for change. Decide and become it. Let the old self fall off you like dead skin. Let the old stories die and bury them in silence. Step into the version of yourself that heaven has always seen, the version that walks in power, provision, and purpose. When you do, everything aligns. The people you need appear, the systems favor you, the ideas explode, the deals flow. Why? Because wealth was never a matter of effort. It was always a matter of agreement. This is not the time to be soft in your belief, not the time to be lukewarm in your decision. This is the time to own it, the time to act as if the 10 minutes are already over and the wealth is already in your hand, because spiritually it is. Now it's just waiting on your command. Let heaven see your faith by your actions. Let the atmosphere be charged with your confidence. Let the spiritual world bow to your authority. You're not begging, you're not bargaining, you're declaring. You're demonstrating, you're receiving, not later. Now so take a breath, lift your head, speak your agreement aloud, say, God already released it. I decide now to walk in it. I am wealthy, I am trusted, I am ready. And let that decision echo through your soul, your life, your business, your home, and your atmosphere until the manifestation that has always been circling you finally lands, because now it has found a match in you. This is your moment, this is your shift. One decision, 10 minutes, unlimited overflow. Walk in it.